Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I am solving this question over here which I have for the temporal logic. So let's go ahead and solve this. And by the way, this is the part 2 of the video. If you guys want to know the part 1, then do check out the link in the description below or click on the I button to watch it. So let's go ahead and solve this. So here, if we have either phi or x, okay, so either of them to be true at time I, and or if both are false, okay, so we cannot really write this statement in terms of one simple formula, like because if we write or in here, that would only mean this statement when we have either of them to be true, but we also want the statement when both of them to be false. So that's not possible. So because if you guys don't understand, so let me explain with the table, okay, with the true and false table. Okay, so because we have two predicates, right? We have this phi and x. So what are the possibilities you can have? You can have like a true and false, okay, or you can have false true, you can have false false, okay, so or you can have true true, right? So these are the possible, okay, so these are the conditions that we have, okay. So here we are saying either of these to be true, so we want the statement when either of them to be true, okay. So that is the case when we have one of them to be true, right? So we want this statement, we want this statement, we want both of them, and we also want the statement when both of them are false, okay. So we want these three statements, okay, and it's not possible to write them in terms of one formula. So what we're going to do, we're going to write the inverse of it, okay. So what I mean by that is, you see, we're only left with true and true. So what about if we write everything but except true and true? So that's what we're going to write, okay, because everything except this means all this, right? So that's what we basically want, okay. So in one case both of them are going to be true, if we put an and in between, right? And means both of them to be true, right? So this has to be phi and x. So if both of them are true, but we don't want the case when this is the case, like we do not want this case, okay. So everything except this thing, so that's what I just wrote, everything but except this true true, which would give us this statement, okay. So I hope you guys got it. So next, what do we have? If you guys didn't get it, then let me know in the comments below. I will be happy to explain. Okay, so next, what do we have? Okay, then starting from I plus 1, so that is the if statement, and then we have then starting from the I plus 1, that is the next moment in time, which you just put a circle, right? Next moment in time, and then eventually phi becomes an invariant. Eventually the sign is like this, an invariant, okay. So then for now let's just forget the eventually and invariant and only focus on the predicates, okay. So we have this over here, phi, and then phi becomes an invariant, or eventually omega becomes an invariant, okay. So phi and omega becomes invariant. So this is what we have, becomes an invariant, or eventually both of them are invariant, okay. So we have either of them or both. In that case we're going to put an or, right? Because we can have both of them to be true, right? If we could have either of them, then we would put this sign, but we are allowed to have both or either of them, so that's why I'm putting an or, the sign of or, okay. And now we're gonna go ahead and put our eventually and invariant, okay. So we have at the next moment of time eventually, so let's go ahead and write eventually, and then becomes an invariant. So that's how you do it, okay. Eventually phi becomes an invariant, or omega becomes an invariant. So they're putting it again and again just to confuse you, but how you're gonna write it, you're just going to focus on the predicate for now, okay. And once you have written this, then at the start of it you're going to write what they mentioned before, like the invariant and the eventually, Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So let's go ahead and solve this question in the third part. Okay, so do check out the link in the description below for the third part.